All right. How much do you need to earn in order to purchase a home in Arlington, Texas? That's the question of the day. That is the question we're going to be answering today. So, if that is you, let me make sure that our audio is working okay. If that is you, you're in the right spot. I'm going to say that this is working. All right. So, what salary, what income do you need to be pulling in order to purchase a home in Arlington? We're going to go through various scenarios. We're going to go through various loan terms. You're going to see how to calculate property taxes. We're going to go into home insurance. We're going to go through everything. So you're fully equipped on how to do this for yourself if you're looking at different price ranges and you're also looking for different cities. Today, we're only speaking Arlington. That's the only language that we know. So stay tuned and just make sure that the audio is working, and it is. All right, so as you have questions, if you'd like for us to run through some scenarios, now that I have the calculator out, we can absolutely get into that. So first things first, let's understand what the prices in Arlington, Texas even are. That's pretty important if we're going to figure out how much we need to be earning along the way. All right, so this is a tool that we use with all of our city breakdowns. This is Alto's research. So Altos.re is where you go to get this breakdown. The reason I like this particular breakdown is not for all the numbers that you see up here, even though it's real-time market data. It gives you days on market. It gives you median prices. It gives you an index on if it's a seller's market or if it's a buyer's market. That's awesome. But, the median list price as well, that's also something else that's pretty cool to look at visually and understand kind of where home prices have been. But really the reason that we use this tool to begin with is because of the market segments that it provides. It gives us an understanding of what different price points to expect depending on the type of property that you're purchasing. As an example, if you're trying to purchase a property that has on average 4 beds and a little bit over 2 baths, well, in Arlington, if you're going to purchase that type of property, you're going to need to come to the table with roughly $420,000. And that's going to be about a $2,400 property. Now, if you're looking for a 3-bed and 2-bath, a little bit smaller, then you're looking at about $338,000. Now, if you're looking for a smaller home, 1,300 square feet, roughly that's under $300,000. So the reason I like this tool, which is free for you to use, you just go to altos.re. It gives you this breakdown. It lets you know, based off of the property that you need, are you able to afford the particular city that you're looking at? As an example, if you need 4 beds, and that's absolutely you need 4 beds and need at least, let's say, 2,400 square feet. Well, now you can compare Arlington to, let's say, a Frisco, compare it to a Fort Worth, compare it to a Grand Prairie, compare it to a Grapevine, Denton, Dallas. It gives you a good breakdown. It gives you a good analysis on what to expect. So that's why we're using this. So for our purposes today, to have a number going forward, we're going to use this analysis. We're going to use the $420,000 median price. Why? Well, a lot of the calls that we get from folks that are coming into the DFW Metroplex and are just moving around within the DFW Metroplex altogether are seeking a 4-bed home. So 4 beds and at least 2 baths. So that's become the standard in all these breakdowns that we do. We've done multiple cities at this point. So if there's a city in the Metroplex that you're interested in, just check out the rest of the videos in our channel. Chances are we've already covered it. And if we haven't, just let us know in the comment section down below which one we need to be looking at next in order to do that breakdown for you next. All right, so for our purposes today, we have our marching orders. We're trying to buy a home in Arlington, Texas for $420,000. It's going to be about 2,400 square feet, 4 beds, 2.5 baths. That is the mission for today. How much do we need to earn in order to purchase that type of property? Speaking of types of property, let me show you what this type of property looks like, because some folks may have a number in mind, may have been out of the game of buying real estate and would like to see, hey, for this 400 and what was it? I should have not closed that. Was it 420,000? We're going to say it was 420. I already forgot. For that type of price, what type of property can we purchase? So I'm going to go into $400 to $450,000 to give you a visual perspective. Very, very quick. We're not going to spend too much time here. I just want to show this to you on the type of property that you can purchase for this amount. Let me see. Can I move myself? Here's what I'll do. Check this out. I'll remove myself for a quick second. And this is the type of property that you can purchase. And you can see this 400, even though this is less than the average that we just quoted, it's substantially bigger. Now, what does that typically mean? Well, it typically means that it's going to be a older home. But either way, look at the prices here. This is a brand new home, folks, for $409,000, 1,700 square feet. That looks like a DHI home. Nothing wrong with it. It just looks like a DHI home. All right, so we have 415,000, 2,600 square feet, 4 beds, 2.5 baths. Not bad homes, right? You have all that brick there. Good looking homes. Good looking homes. Right? So it's the type of property that you can purchase for this price, $420,000, give or take. All right, so we're not going to spend too much time here. I'm just giving you a visual cue of the type of property that we're talking about, just to give you an idea. Brand new home right here, 430,000, almost 2,000 square feet. All right. Okay, I think that is enough. We're not going to spend here a ton of time here. It's time to get to work. It's time to figure out how much we actually need to earn in order to purchase a home in Arlington. That is our mission for today. Remember, we're shooting for $420,000. That is the mission for today. $420,000 specifically in Arlington, Texas. How much do we need to earn? Now, what's important for us to understand here is you can play around with all of these numbers. I'm going to show you exactly how to manipulate them in order to fit your specific scenario. Everything is going to be linked down below, so you can use the exact same tool, which is a max price calculator that you're seeing today on the screen, is linked down below. Now, this calculator, I wish I could take credit for it because it's a phenomenal tool for you to have, but I can't because I'd be lying to you. The creator of this calculator is Kyle Seagraves with the YouTube channel Win the House You Love. So make sure you check out that YouTube channel. Phenomenal resource for you to have. But with that being said, let's get into this. For our purposes today, we're going to say that we're trying to buy this $420,000 house. Let me just, I should probably put, for me, because I'm going to forget, 420,000. All right, that is our mission today. And we're going to go into Arlington to give us a visual cue for those of us that are tuning in just now. That's the mission and vision for today. Oh, I did a really good job screwing that up, right? This is something that I should have done before we went live. No worries. Okay, here's what we got. Down payment time. For the down payment, we're going to assume it's a 5% down payment. That is what we're going to go after. 5% down is very reasonable. Now, if you're getting an FHA loan, remember the minimum is 3.5 down if you're getting an FHA loan. If you're getting a conventional loan, you can actually go lower. It's 3% down. For our purposes today, we're going to do 5%. That is what we're shooting for. Now, there's this, I know we get this in the comments all the time. Well, why don't you do 20% down, then avoid mortgage insurance? We're going to take that as a teaching opportunity in the following tab as we get going. So we're not going to really, oops, let me bring myself back on camera. So we're not going to really dig into the 5% down until we get to the breakdown of the numbers. All right, what is our interest rate? So what is the bank going to charge us for this loan? Well, it's so simple. All we're going to do is go to mortgage interest rate today. And we're going to assume, what was it? We're going to assume it's a $400K loan. We're going to say that it's 5% down. We're going to say that it's Texas. And our credit score is not excellent, but it's also not terrible. Let's go 420. Let's be generous here. So let's just say we have a 720 roughly credit score. And for a 30-year on average, again, you can go lower depending on your credit score, depending on the loan amount, depending on a few factors. But for our purposes today, we're going to say that it's 7.25%. That's the average that we have at this point in time. So this is going to be a rough and dirty guess. It's not going to be that far off, to be honest with you, but we at least have a starting point. So for our purposes today, we're going to say that the interest rates today are about 7.25%. That is what we're paying on the loan. Now, how long is the mortgage going to be? How long is this loan going to be? We can do a 30-year loan. That's the most common type of tenure that you're going to have on a loan. That's going to be the most common one. So you can do a 15-year, you can do a 20-year, you can do something different than 30 years, but most folks end up doing 30 years for a multitude of reasons. All right, so property taxes. This is where we spend a good amount of time, because property tax, I know you didn't come to this video for a property tax lesson, but we have to talk about property taxes. Why? Well, that's because it's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for the life of you owning that property. Property taxes are going to exist regardless if you have a mortgage or regardless if you own that property outright. Property taxes will not go away. So you need to really understand where these percentages come from, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There's 5 types of taxes that come together to form the mega tax, the mega property tax. There's 5 components to it that we'll talk about. But also in the DFW Metroplex, especially in Arlington, in Arlington, you're right in the middle of everything, which means that you have access to other cities. So if you're considering Arlington, well, there's a difference between Arlington property tax rates and Mansfield and Grand Prairie and Bedford and Euless and Hearst and Fort Worth and Dallas and I think you get the point. So there's differences, right? So you understanding what property tax rates are in Arlington are super important for you, because again, it doesn't go away. And depending on where you purchase the property, depending on where you purchase your home, whether it's Arlington or other cities, property taxes can be, when it's all said and done, tens of thousands of dollars of difference within a few years. All right, so now that I've done a really good job scaring you of what that means, let's look and see what it is. Arlington, Texas property tax rate. I'm doing this in real time so you know exactly where to go to get this information, because you may be looking at Arlington, and if chances are, if you're watching this video, awesome, your homework is going to be halfway done. But the property tax rates change, and also you might be also considering Grand Prairie as an example. So now you're going to know exactly how to do the comparison. So we're going to go to property tax rate, City of Arlington. And hopefully this doesn't freeze on us. All right, the property provides information, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's something that you're going to learn. If you watched any other of my videos, they don't make these easy. So even though I have an extensive amount of knowledge about property taxes because of the properties that I own myself, and they all happen to be in, well, not all in Arlington, but many of them happen to be in Arlington itself, in Tarrant County, but they don't make it easy. They don't make it easy. And I've done breakdowns on all the cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so over 80 of them here in DFW already. And I can tell you that it's not easy. So unfortunately, we're going to go to the Tarrant County, the mega list is what I call it. So here, we're gonna need to know this information. We're gonna need to know the five taxes that get added together to be the property tax, the mega property tax, if you will. So there's 5 components. 100% of the cities are going to have 3 of these components. It's going to be the city tax, county tax, and the ISD tax. All cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Let me say that again. All cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex have the city, county, and ISD tax. You're going to be adding them together, and you're going to have that. Many cities will add 2 other taxes. One's going to be a higher education, so think of community college. And another one's going to be a hospital tax. So think of it like a hospital system, whatever it happens to be. So for our purposes today, we're going to assume that Arlington has all 5. We're going to make that assumption because, again, they're not making it easy. We went to their actual site and no mention of it. Now we're going to the county site. And as you can see, the rest are pretty much things that are trying to sell, websites that are trying to sell you something, trying to sell you a service. So we're doing the next best thing and being informed and knowing exactly what we're going to do. All right, so what we're going to look for is, where's Arlington? Here we go. You would think that it'd be up here, right? So city of Arlington right here. All right. 0.589. So right here. Let me zoom in. Can you see that? 0.5898. Now, if you did not know the other elements, the other things to add up to the property tax rate, you would think, okay, well, 0.5898% isn't bad. Well, you would be missing about 75% of the rest of the taxes that you're going to be paying, because you're not just paying the city tax. You're paying the county tax, you're paying the ISD tax, you're paying the hospital tax. We're going to add hospital tax, even though I'm not sure if Arlington's going to have it or not. I'm pretty sure it does, because if I remember the paper that we get every single year for the properties, I want to say that it has it anyway. And then the higher education tax. So we're going to add them all together just to see what it looks like. So we're going to add this number right here, the city of Arlington, 0.58. So we're going to call it 0.59. It's going to be a rough guess. We're going to add the county tax because it's in Tarrant County. So we're going to say 0.59, adding 0.1, so 678, 0.67, is that right? Don't do public math, they said, and I shouldn't have done that. 7.77. We'll call it 0.77 so far. Let's go find that ISD. 0.7. What was that? 0.77. Is that right? Now we're going to add 1.11. So we're going to put 1.88. And then what did we add? We're going to add these two right here. 0.88. So let's say 0.99, 2.2. All right, so I went very quickly, but I'm going to write this down. 225. We're having to round park it. If I was writing this down, it would make it a lot easier. But there's a reason I don't do public math, because you see how non-equipped I am to do it. But anyway, just a quick little recap. We are adding city of Arlington. We're adding the ISD. We're adding Tarrant County right up here. And then we're adding these two networks right here. Now, technically, I don't think Arlington is in the JPS Health Network. That is more on the Fort Worth side. But I'm adding it just to be conservative here. The Tarrant County College, well, you have TCC in Arlington itself. So I do feel comfortable adding that. The one that I'm a little bit shaky on is probably going to be the JPS Health Network, because JPS is actually downtown Fort Worth, but I'm adding it just for the sake of having be conservative here. By the time it's all said and done, you're going to be pleasantly surprised that, hey, it's actually not part of the Arlington tax that I have to pay. So a quick little recap here, because I know I went through a lot of different numbers. Ideally, if Arlington got their act together, they would list it all out like several other cities in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex do. They tell you the exact amount that goes to the city. They tell you the exact amount that goes to the county. They tell you the exact amount that goes to the ISD. They tell you the exact amount that goes to the hospital network, if there is one. And it gives you the exact amount that goes to the higher education, so community college. So those are the 5 components. 3 of those components are going to be in all DFW cities. Remember, city, county, and ISD. The other 2, the hospital network and the higher education, those vary by city. I know you didn't come here for property taxes. I recognize that. But hopefully with this understanding, you can make the decisions on your next home a little bit quicker, a little bit more financially savvy, because a lot of folks get blindsided by the amount of property taxes that they're paying every single year. Remember, property taxes don't go away. If you buy your house cash, guess what? Property taxes are still due. And Texas has the 6th highest property tax rates in the country. If you're wondering who number 1 is, it's New Jersey. So with that being said, I think we've covered property taxes enough to get us to keep us going. Now let's talk about home insurance. Home insurance is something that you're going to be required for as long as you have the loan. And even after you have that loan, I strongly encourage you to keep paying your home insurance premium, because you never know when something could happen, right? So this is designed for a catastrophe, whether a tornado rolls through, whether you get hail damage, whether it burns up, God forbid any of these things happen. But we do we purchase insurance for this specific scenario. So typically we allocate 0.75%. That's what we allocate in terms of how much we're going to factor in home insurance, and that'll give you a good ballpark of what to expect to pay per year. All right. So with that being said, I think we have a little bit of better understanding, but let me wrap everything up, because you're about to see a number in the following tab that's gonna be very important for you. Actually, you know what? We're gonna wait for that. We're doing the inputs today in this particular tab. In the next tab, you're gonna see the outcome. We're gonna pretend we have good credit score. We're not gonna have excellent, but we're gonna have good credit score. Yearly HOA fees. If you're buying a new build in Arlington, you're most likely going to enter in an HOA. Now, a lot of communities in Arlington don't have an HOA. So more established homes don't really have an HOA. Here in the past 10 to 15 years, that's when most of the HOAs started really becoming very, very popular. So if your home is older than 10 to 15 years, chances are you're not going to be in an HOA. So most of the houses in Arlington don't have an HOA. It's going to be the newer builds that do. And $300 for the type of property that we're purchasing, about $420,000. That's a reasonable amount. It could be more, it could be less. It just depends on how much they actually do for you. So for our purposes today, what we're going to do is we're going to pretend a few things. We're going to pretend that we don't have any debt. That's one. But also we're going to pretend that we have a $60,000 income. Ooh, $600,000. Sign me up. We're going to pretend we have a yearly gross income of $60,000. Now, this works. You have access to this calculator, of course. It is linked down below. And you can add another co-borrower, somebody else that's going to be on the loan. You can add them here. So for our purposes today, we're going to say we're earning $600,000 per year, and we don't have any debt. Now, of course, if you make more than that, change that. If you make less than that, change that. And if you have some debt, be sure that you add it here. So this gives you a definition of the type of debt that we're talking about. We're talking about car loans. We're talking about credit cards. We're talking about student loans. We're talking about child support. That is debt. We're not talking about expenses here. So rent, groceries, utilities, phone bill, and that stuff, that doesn't count. We're only talking about debt. So just be clear on that. For our purposes today, again, we're just going to start off with a clean slate. All right, so we've added our inputs, things that we can control and some that we can't, but we know the numbers too. So we can't control really the interest rate all that much. And we really have no say in the property tax rate. We just have to make do with it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click on that third tab where it shows us the breakdown of how much home we can actually afford. Now, you may be thinking, it's only $145,000. This is in 2000. They don't sell houses for that anymore. And you're right, they don't. But don't worry. I'm going to show you the breakdown, then we're going to come back to the well and do an adjustment. This is based off of a conservative risk level. So there are different scenarios that get broken down here. You have a very ultra safe risk level. So this means the debt to the percentage of your net income that goes to your housing needs. So to be on the ultra safe side, you're looking at 33% of your net income would go to a mortgage payment. So that would mean that if you are looking for this mortgage payment, the most that you could purchase a home for would be about $130,000. If you're looking for 30% of your net income to go to your housing, to your mortgage, then the most that you could purchase is a $145,000 home, and on and on and on. That's how you see it. So technically, you can qualify for all of these risk levels. It just depends on your risk tolerance, and it also depends on your credit score. So the more aggressive and riskier that you are, the more pristine your credit score needs to be. That's how this is broken down. But we're going to go back and adjust it just a little bit. Let's say we make 75,000, just to give you an idea of how these numbers move. So if you make $75,000, if you're doing 5% down at this current interest rate, then this is a conservative maximum purchase price that you could have. But again, you can technically qualify for about a $300,000 home. Now, when we get to the number that we need, we're going to actually go to for us to make the calculation be true, we go to the aggressive. We want the aggressive purchase price to be the median price that we're looking to purchase. So in this case, you see it's $354,000. We still have a little ways to go. So we're going to say that we make $110,000. And again, this calculator is linked down below, so make sure that you download it. That does exactly what we need. So we can say, let's see if 100 will get us there. All right, we're going to shoot the middle. We're going to say $105,000 is what we need to earn in order to purchase a home. All right, let's keep that $110,000. All right, so we're going to call it good. $110,000 is what you would need to earn. Now, again, keep in mind, these are the inputs that we put in. We put 5% down. If you wait a little bit and have a bigger down payment, then you can purchase a larger home. You can have a higher purchasing power because you're not asking for as much money to borrow, right? If the interest rate goes down, by the time you're watching this video, if your interest rate, so look what happens. Let's just say the interest rate drops 2 points, 5.25. Let's just say it drops 2 points. Look at what that does to your purchase price. It added $60,000 or about almost $70,000 to your purchase price from the levels that we were at. So when it comes to interest rates, it's super important. And I'll give you a pro tip. While 5.25 doesn't exist today, I guarantee you that 5.75 does exist today. How? Well, it's through new construction. If you go to a new construction community, and if you need access to that, just send us an email at admin@highmiracents.com. I'll gladly send you to the builder that is offering this type of rate. So if you get this type of rate right now, you could purchase a home for about you could purchase a home of 480, that's valued at $481,000. That's how big of a difference your mortgage interest rate makes. So again, if you're interested in builders that are offering favorable loan terms like that, then just send us an email at highmiracents.com. We'll gladly take care of that. But let's continue. Now we're going to do the breakdown. Now we do the breakdown that I mentioned earlier on where these numbers go. So again, we are making the assumption, these assumptions right here, that we make $110,000, we don't have debt, that we're putting 5% down, our interest rate that we can go to market with right now and secure right now is 7.25%, even though you know that you can get less if you go new construction. That the property tax rate is this, the insurance rate is 0.75%. We're making these assumptions. All of these are conservative numbers, as we gave you a very conservative risk level. So this is what you're seeing right here. This is the conservative side. That's the number that you're seeing. You can technically go to moderate, you could go to aggressive, you can even go to risky, but your credit score needs to be like ultra clean if you're going to be in risky. Your credit score needs to be good if you're going to go to the aggressive calculation here. But you will find a lender that gives you this type of loan. So just rest assured that that can happen. Now, if you do that, let's see here. If you do that, let's get this number. Let's do this just to show you this. Let's get this number to be a little bit closer to that number. So I'm going to manipulate the formula. Forget what you're about to see right now. Cover your eyes. Cover your eyes. Let's just pretend. Cover your eyes. We just need to manipulate that number to get a little bit closer to what we need it to be. I overshot it. We can get a little bit closer. I just want to show you the math. So again, cover your eyes for a second. This is close enough. So remember, the price that we were trying to shoot for was $420,000. That was what we were looking to do. Now, the math is broken down here. If we do 5% down of a 420, we're going to pretend that says 420, of a $420,000 home in Arlington, you're looking to come to the table with about $20,000 to have a 5% down. Your estimated closing costs essentially is what the loan is going to cost you at the beginning, and the lender and all that fun stuff, just wrapping in all the fees, is going to be about $10,000, a little bit over $10,000 to get into that loan. Now the breakdown, you're looking at about a $4,000 a month payment for this type of home, with this amount going to principal and interest. So principal is the amount of loan that you obtained. The interest is how much it cost you to have that loan. So essentially, principal is how much you borrowed. Interest is how much the bank is charging you to borrow that money. The third component of your mortgage payment is the property taxes. We did about 5 minutes of property taxes. So property taxes, remember, they don't go away. Regardless if you have a mortgage or don't, you will be paying property taxes. So the property taxes are also included in that mortgage payment, given that your mortgage servicer, the individuals that are collecting your monthly mortgage payment and are carrying your loan, they are going to be collecting the property taxes as well and are putting that into escrow and paying the property taxes on your behalf at the beginning of the year. I know it's quite a bit, but just hang in there with me. That's the third component of your mortgage statement. So whenever you get your mortgage statement, you're going to see how much goes to principal, how much goes to interest, how much goes to property taxes. And you're also going to have your homeowner's insurance be included in that loan. So those are the four components of your mortgage payment. Now, before you get into the comment section and say, well, I don't pay my property taxes to the mortgage servicer, I pay them direct. First of all, calm down. No, I'm kidding. Well, yes, there are ways for you to not pay the property taxes to your mortgage servicer, and that typically requires you to put more money down. Same thing with the homeowner's insurance. You don't have to include it in your actual mortgage payment if you have enough money in the game, if you have enough equity in the property. But given that you're doing a 5% down, you will be required to put your property taxes, your home insurances, be paying those on a monthly basis to the servicer. That way they're ensuring that it actually gets covered. Now, here's where we get to the 5% versus 10% versus 20% versus any other percent. Mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance comes into play if you put anything less than 20% down on your home. So how do we put 20% down in this home or in this loan? We wouldn't be paying mortgage insurance. But given that we paid less than 20%, given that we put 5% down, we're paying mortgage insurance. The reason being is because the bank is saying, well, you put 5% down, I'm putting 95% down. 95% into this property. You don't have enough skin in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tax you. I'm going to give you, you're going to need to pay some insurance on this in the event that you default. So this is an additional, it's not going to be an entire percentage point, but it is going to be, as you see here, significant amount, at least in my opinion, on, well, it's not terrible for what it does for you. But when it comes to the mortgage insurance, that's something that will be in place. If you have a conventional loan, will be in place until you get 20% equity in that property. If you get an FHA loan, that's going to be there for life of the loan. So just be aware of that. That's where this mortgage insurance comes from. That's where the importance of 5% down versus 20% down comes into play. Now, hear me, please, please, please hear me. If you do not have 20% down to put on a $420,000 home, that is okay. This tax is not going to be the end of the world. I would much rather you get into a home and start building equity and put 5% down and get started on your home ownership and control an asset of $420,000 for $20,000 to get into it, then for you to look at that $200 a month and see it as an overcomable tax that you're trying to avoid. So you're going to really buckle down and get to 20% down because you want to avoid that. By the time you get to 20% down, it's not going to be worth it. Again, you know your personal scenario way more than I do, but if you're looking for my opinion, that's what I would do. And this isn't coming from a real estate agent's perspective. It's just coming from a investor's perspective. It's coming from a misconception that I had before I became a real estate agent and got into the industry, is that I needed 20% down. And that's shame on me. I did not know that. So had I known that, I'd have a lot more rental properties. I'll tell you that. But anyway, with that being said, here's what we got. Let me go back to the number that what did we say it was? 110. That's what we need to purchase under this scenario. There's some ways to reduce this, of course, but that's what we need to make in order to get an aggressive, I guess, a risk tolerance level of to purchase a home in Arlington. Now, if you scroll down, you're going to see some different calculations. You're going to see other costs to consider whenever you're getting into the loan. You're going to see different scenarios on if you're negotiating the property, you know, how much that would save you in terms of mortgage payment if you can get the property for 10% less, 5% more, 5%, 10% more. So it gives you an idea whenever you're in the heat of battle, just a quick index on, well, if I do 5% more, if I do above asking, or if I do below asking, what's that going to do in terms of the monthly mortgage payment? Gives you other scenarios, and it goes on and on to really break a lot of different numbers down, a lot of ratios down that are going to be meaningful to you as you are purchasing a property in Arlington. So at the end of the day, long story short, under the following criteria, assuming that we are trying to get a 4-bed, 2.5 bath, about 2,400 square foot in Arlington, Texas, with a 5% down, 7.25% interest rate, with a property tax rate of 2.25 and an interest premium of 0.75%, we would need to earn $110,000 to purchase a home in Arlington, Texas. If you meet all of this criteria, your homework is done. Chances are you meet 80% of this criteria or 60% of this criteria. So you will need to go down to the description and get this max price calculator for yourself. Now, if you want us to run the simulation for you, we do this all the time. Send us an email at admin@highmirrorsense.com. Our team does this 24/7. We do this in our buyer discovery calls with our clients that are coming in from all over the country, and some different countries as well, but from all over the country, from all over the Metroplex, whether you're looking to purchase in Arlington, Grand Prairie, Denton, Dallas, Mansfield, wherever, we do these breakdowns in every single city. We have videos on all the cities in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so if we can serve you in any way, let us know. Outside of that, don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. I'll talk to you soon.